Hey guys, you're here with Quicksand Rigs, and today we're going to be going over some basic macros and how you can use them with your gear sets. So without further ado, let's sink in. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to look at is if you're a new player, I'm going to give you a pretty quick and basic rundown of gear sets in general. So if you click C and open your character sheet, right below the tab for classes and jobs are three buttons: recommended gear, glamour plates, and gear set list. Every time you unlock a new class in the game, you will gain one gear set that you're able to modify. So if you open up that gear set list, you'll see all my gear sets here in this list. From here, you can click the plus icon on the top left and create a new gear set. Once that's done, whatever new class you want, you select the main hand option and you can switch to that class from here. You'll notice even though I'm a Gunbreaker, it still says Paladin under the gear set. That's because it was created while I was still a Paladin. So what I need to do is you can either open up the gear set list, right click it, and click reassign gear, and we'll reassign that gear and make it a Gunbreaker, or after you modify any piece of equipment, you can click this icon here for update gear set, and it will update that Gunbreaker gear set. Other options for you inside the gear set list, when you right click them, the ability to display the set and what is currently equipped on it without equipping it, reassigning its number and being able to move it up and down the list, changing its name if you like to do that, as you'll see here that I've done with a few of them, and linking it to a glamour plate so that it will apply that glamour plate every time you equip this gear set inside of a town. And finally, the most important thing you can do inside the gear set list is you can drag the icons off and place them on a hotbar so that you can switch to that gear set quicker. Now that we have the basics of gear sets down, we're going to jump right into the macros. So you'll click escape and go to user macros. You have individual macros and shared macros up here. So you want to create all your gear set ones under shared so that all of your classes and your gear sets can switch back and forth between them. When you select a new macro slot, you can give it a name, which we are going to do a ninja. And then options that you get that interact with gear sets inside of here will be the command / gear set change, and then you'll select the number. So once you're looking at that, we can go inside our character sheet and gear set list, and the ninja is number 5. So we'll go back in here and we'll add gear set space change space 5. And that will give us a hotkey to switch us to the ninja. Now you'll notice that this is no different than being able to drag the gear set to the hotbar from the gear set list. However, the reasons to have a macro is we also get the ability to change the icon by doing /m icon or /macro icon, and then typing inside quotation marks ninja, and then type in class job, and that will switch the icon to the ninja icon, just like our gear set list. However, you have the ability to change this icon to many different things, as you'll see over here, where I have the ninja and the astrologian as their class icons. I put a pair of grips as the monk by doing m icon and in quotation mark the name of the item and then item at the end. So you will, inside quotation marks, type in what it is, and then at the end you will type on what category it is inside of. My black mage here has the soul of the black mage icon, and then I moved my bard back to the archer icon because he identifies as a non-musician. A couple things to note with the icon is it does not seem like you can make the icon some item that you do not currently possess, but it is not vitally important that it is all capitalized perfectly. As you can see, the black mage, the mage is lowercase, and if you go inside character sheet, it is capitalized. So you do not have to be perfect with it, but you have to be very close. And most importantly, inside the macro list, we gain the ability to type in /Hud Layout, and we can select a number. Let's say Hud Layout 4. So whenever I switch to the ninja, you will notice my health bar moved. The benefit to this is you can go into your HUD layout and you can set up each HUD for a different purpose and allow your macros to change your HUD around for the particular event you might be doing. If you like to keep the majority parts of your UI in roughly the same spot, it is a good idea to click the cog beside your different HUD layouts and copy your base slot to your other spots. That way you have a start off point when you do adjust the HUD for different purposes. The helpful purposes with the HUD layout changes can be assigning one for tank, DPS, and healer to move certain things on the HUD around depending on what your priorities are. Right here you'll see a basic of my HUD layout with the Paladin. You'll notice here I have the target bar where they put it standard in the middle top of the screen. I have my enemy list slightly to the right of that, and my party menu is on the left side of the screen, with my gauges and my health bar being center button. However, if I switch over to my Paladin macro and move it to HUD Layout 2, you will notice that my parameter bar moved up and enlarged a little bit, and I also have the game put my enemy list enlarged and more towards the center of my screen. That way, if I am tanking inside of a dungeon or a trial, I will see ads pop up right here on the screen at the enemy list, closer to where my eyes are drawn. And here I have HUD Layout 4 set up for my DPS classes, bringing the target bar center of the screen instead of my own hit point bar, moving that to the side, and making my class's gauge abilities a bit larger. And I also move my focus target closer to the center of the screen and enlarge it. That way, if I do switch targets with my DPS, I can still see what the boss's hit points are at. And for the healers, I enlarge my party menu right here, and I also enlarge my focus target and put it in the center of the screen so it is much easier to see. I will not be showing you combat with the healer HUD, however, because he's too weak to fight here, and I suck at healer. If you do set up different HUD layouts for different events, like tanking a dungeon or trial, being a DPS inside one of those, and so on, you can also leave HUD Layout 1 as your basic layout that you want to do while doing story quests or fates, leave quests, and something a little bit more solo oriented, and create a macro simply to change it back to HUD Layout 1 and place that on your bar. That way, if I switch over, do my gear sets, and then click that macro, it will return everything back to my basic setup without changing any gear sets. Well, there you go guys, just some very basic settings you can do inside the macros of Final Fantasy XIV to make switching your gear sets a little bit easier, or to give you more options inside of them to utilize those 4 HUD presets that Final Fantasy gives you. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.